Good day, and welcome to Coffee with the Tigg. I am your host, the Tigg. Today is Sunday. I forgot what day is. I just wrote it on there. September 23rd. This is volume number 80 of Coffee with the Tigg. This is like the sixth or eighth one that I've done live. That's the kind of day I've been having. I've been trying to figure out how to use my other computer to do the streaming instead of using everything on one computer. It's just that technical stuff it doesn't come easy to me. I eventually can figure it out, but right now I just have the programs over there and whatnot and what have you. Still trying to figure out how to make them see each other, the two computers. So that's where I'm at with that. If and when I get it figured out, that's probably when I'm going to start Discord. Not using Discord, but using the multi-streamer, the real stream multi-streamer. And then again, I may start. I was thinking about doing it today, but I'm still not too comfortable with the OBS system that does the multiple streams. So you know, that's just it. I did get my computer moved over here. It's right here. Oh, right here. I'm telling you, with these reverse cameras, I get all confused on which is my left and which is my right. It's on the right side of my screen. You can't see it, but I've got a little 19-inch monitor sitting right there. Right now, what's up? What's up? What's up? Mr. Highbank is in the house, or Zoom World Racing as he's being right now. I actually have the chat on that thing, so I can see it a little bit better. So that's it. That one out. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with the figuring out the multi computer streaming. It's a little bit over my head. It's a little. It'll take me reading through it and watching videos 4 or 5 times before I get there. So, you know, that's going to be that. And when I do figure it out, it's going to be a whole new ball game, a whole new world for me, for you as well, the people who watch my crap stuff, not crap stuff. Anyway, on to other things. What basically, you know, I've been bouncing around with the direction of what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to be doing it and where I'm going to be doing it. I'm in my studio now. This is the permanent spot for this. Other than, you know, moving a few more things around, getting a few things carried, which you can't see off camera. I mean, this little corner back here over that shoulder, you can see a little bit of the mess that's back behind there, but what you see don't see in frame is a complete and total disaster area, and I really do need to fix that so I can get another table over here so my two computers aren't sitting right next to each other, so the heat doesn't build up so bad. So that I have to do still. But the direction of this channel, after the last 2 weeks just watching what's out there for sim racing streamers, a lot of good guys out there. There's not a bad one among them. Bunch of good guys, bunch of friendly guys. Most of them do GT racing. I'd say about 90% of them. Even the guys on iRacing, they stream the GT racing. That is the big thing on the internet. GT racing. There is, however, a niche for NASCAR. And since my roots in sim racing are NASCAR, I have decided to primarily focus on NASCAR. Now, you know, it's not a very big niche, but it's big enough one for, you know, if you want to find it, you'll find me. I'm going to be tagging everything with the NASCAR type stock car racing. Yesterday I did a live stream of a 60-lap race at Daytona 99 with the 98 cars, and I almost made it to the end without screwing up. Well, I made it halfway without screwing up, which, you know, hey, that's life. But yeah, I'm gonna do more of that. I was also thinking about doing on the Tuesday morning live racing stream, because I'm going to try to do this Tuesday mornings and Thursday mornings, plus throw in a Saturday here and there, and then of course Sunday morning we have coffee with the Tigg. We're going to have that every Sunday morning. That's not going to stop. It's going to be an everyday thing. So that being said, I forgot to go into my channel. That's why I don't hear anything. Alrighty, so I'm in my Discord channel now. So with that being said, this is what you see in the background is the Tigg's Facebook page. My face is probably covering it up, but that's exactly what that is. There's a link to it in the description below. There's a button up on the banner on the main page of my site, of this channel. And that, of course, isn't even up to date because I don't even have that black tablet on my desk anymore. The tower doesn't sit it there anymore. I have a lot more space on my desk. I now have 2 monitors on my desk instead of just the one 32-inch. I have a 19-inch one also. But so there you have it. That's what that's going to be. I'm going to be doing mostly NASCAR. Get back up on subject, Dan, or Tigg, or whoever you happen to be at this particular moment in time. My hands hurt today. A lot of moisture in the air, and an hour and a half worth of racing yesterday too. I'm gonna just the idea I've been kicking around in my head is, and it's probably a little late to start with this. Oh, now he's back as Bill. Oh, lovely Bill, lovely. I turned the Discord back on. I wasn't on the channel, so I turned that on. It's all fly by seat of your pants type of thing. I don't have a script. I'm not organized at all. This organization is my organization, so bear with me, folks. That's just the way it is. Needless to say, what I was saying, I was thinking about this actually over the last couple of days when I decided to start doing primarily NASCAR video feeds, sim racing feeds, or whatever you want to call them, streams, feeds, whatever. I was thinking about doing like an hour version of a sim race with the NASCAR Racing 2003 Splash and Goes 2018 mod with the most current track I could find of that particular track, of the version of that track, and just do my own little sim version of the last NASCAR race. Of course, now we've only got 8 races left in the NASCAR season, so I should have thought of this long ago. I was just trying to, when I first started, hey Bill's on the line. When I first started doing this, I didn't. Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know if I would get any followers. I didn't know if anybody would be halfway interested in what I was doing. So I just kind of followed what everybody else was doing. But I'm going to kind of buck the trend here. And do my own little thing and see if the little NASCAR niche that's still out there is interested in watching live stream racing. I see that you know, a lot of the broadcast for iRacing is a broadcast. It's not, you know, somebody doing it. It's just a, you know, like a TV broadcast. So I'm going to try something a little bit different. Yeah, little bit different. Yeah, so that's basically where this channel's going to head. I'm going to throw some GT racing in now and then because I still love GT racing. I'm not going to talk a lot about the news over the last 2 weeks when I was digging around, finding all this stuff. If you really want to find news, there is multiple sites, multiple streams with the news. The best place to get your news is the Sim Pit with Sean Cole. He's been moving the past week, so of course he's not been on, but every day he gets on his YouTube and he gives the news. I mean, there's no point in me recapping everything he says. The way I look at it, I will be covering NASCAR 2003 news because nobody covers that. So when new mods drop, new tracks drop, I'll try to keep a half an eye out for that. I belong to a lot more groups over the last couple of days. I'm joining more groups to find out what's coming up, what's coming out. and whatnot and what have you. So we're going to be primarily focusing on the NR2K NASCAR Racing 2003 season, with some others thrown in for fun. You know, it won't be all that serious. We'll be doing some fun things. I have quite a number of them, not a lot of them, but I have a lot of them. So we'll be throwing in stuff here and there. Not all super speedway racing. That gets boring after a while, and I think that's why I got bored with it, because that's all I was doing there for a while. But now, sip of coffee first. I want to talk about what is legal and what is illegal. Simpit. Yep, he just put the chat up there. Oh, and on the internet, there's the BSR Racing, B Sim Racing. He's got there's a whole ton of them. You can get a race room too, or race department too, for news. News is just everywhere. But what is legal and illegal in the NR2K world? What is legal? You ready for this, people? This is legal. This is legal. Do you see this? This is the original disc. My screen's throwing a shadow on it with a code on it. That is legal. Anything you download off the net that's this sim is illegal. You're doing something illegal. You could actually get in trouble with it. It's like when everybody went nutso over video or song sharing on the net. Remember all that with all the, I can't even remember half the sites now, but you know, this is the same deal. If you downloaded this off the net without having this disc in your possession, you're doing something illegal. It may seem minor and small, and it's not freeware. First Racing, iRacing owns the rights to the sim, and I don't think it has an expiration date. I've yet to find anything. Have you found anything that says they have an expiration date on that bill?
No, there's no such thing as an expiration date on copyright law.
Exactly.
What copyrights do run out, I think it's every 25 years, and they have to be re-upped, and they are re-upped generally by people that have vested interest in them. Otherwise, why would First Racing had to have bought the copyright rights to the exec? They wouldn't have had to buy it. They could have just waited them out, you know, or they could have, you know, there's lots of ways they could have gone. People don't understand about copyright law, because making a mixtape for somebody and giving it to, you know, with materials, say you own all these CDs and you make a mixtape with all your favorite songs and you give it to somebody, that's against the law. That's called distribution. You cannot, when you buy a piece of music or any kind of intellectual properties that are on a disc or digital format or whatever, or a movie or something, whenever you buy that, you don't own that. You just are buying the rights to be a user. That's why they call it a user agreement. You're not buying, you actually don't own the software. You just are using it. Just like your Windows 10, just like your Windows Office, Microsoft Office, you don't own it. You don't own any software. There's no, unless you created it yourself, you do not own software. You just are a user, and you have to abide by the agreements in the user, or by the points in the user agreement. And one of those points is that you don't share and redistribute. You know, and so if somebody put it up on the internet and it's free, just because it's up there doesn't mean that that's contraband. I mean, that's bogus. You can't do that. You're trafficking in somebody else's stolen property, basically. So, you know, and everybody just freaks out about that. I can make copies of you know.
It's just like what
together by the beat. No, you can't.
No, you can't. Not at all.
You can make one copy for yourself, but you're not supposed to make 27 copies, and you're certainly not supposed to give it to people. What's that say?
Oh, that's allowed. That's the sold out. That is actually the sold out that came out a few years ago. That disc I just showed. This is the disc that came out like 10 years ago for GPL. This is the only legal way to get it through sold out. I don't even think they have it available anymore. That's the only.
Is that right?
Yeah, you can't
I
get
never heard of that.
Yeah, that's how I got it. I actually got it from a buddy of mine who sent it to me. He's nice enough to send me the disc because he didn't like it. I don't know why. It's fun as hell. But yeah, this is the only. I lost the box that it came in. Unfortunately, I've been the millions and a half moves I've done over the last 10 years, but I still have the disc. So there you go. It's just like when music, when everybody went not so. What was it? I can't even think of the name of the company. When they were doing all that music sharing, that was all illegal, and that's copyright, and that's exactly the same thing with the gaming world. And people don't seem to understand it. Just because it's out there doesn't mean you have and you own it. It's in your possession, like NR2K. Doesn't mean you can share it freely, and it's just ridiculous. And copyright law actually extends to the cars and the tracks. The only legal ones are the ones that are in the sim. Everything else is illegal.
you're thinking about the Napster deal, right?
Yeah, Napster. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because they started just sharing things illegally. And
Pirate Bay.
They thought no one was paying attention. There are no copyright law or copyright cops. It's too bad. But let me explain something. I'm a songwriter. I've been writing songs since 1974.
You're old.
Back in those days, I know. Back in that was 16. Back in those days, to do a copyright, you had to get download the paperwork or download. You had to write the copyright office, and you get copies of the forms. Some post office in larger cities had them, but you get the forms, and then you fill out the copies, and you do it, and it's a big hairy deal to do all this. We used to do what we called poor man's copyright or postal copyrights, where if we wrote a song or something, we'd make a cassette tape of it, and we'd put the music on a sheet, and we'd send it out to ourselves. We'd mail it back to ourselves, and when it came, we wouldn't open the letter, and we keep that, and that would establish a date of creation.
I remember that.
So you could always have that, and that stood up in law. That stood up to law. Well, I can't remember exactly the year, but it was fairly recent, meaning in the last 25 years. They changed the law to where that the act of creation creates a copyright. So if you can prove your date of creation, you can and this came largely about because of the internet and the way everything is date stamped. Every file is date stamped, even if you don't see it, it's there.
It's been coded.
It's coded in there. So if you create something digitally, and it's date stamped. But going back to the copyright issue, basically, if it's something that's visual, as long as you use the copyright symbol, the date, your name, and write the words "all rights reserved," that's a copyright, and that's totally legitimate. You don't have to do all the paperwork. Now, you can still do a registered copyright, which gets you all that, you do all the paperwork just like you always did. And you can do that. So, how does this apply to sim racing? Okay, so if someone creates a track, first off, you're creating an image of a track. You're not creating a track. And that's an important thing, because some tracks definitely have their layout trademarked.
And their name. Their names are all trademarked and copyrighted.
And their name. So when you create a digital representation of something, you're creating a digital representation of somebody else's property, and so you can't legally own the copyright to it. I don't know, I don't think they're running around, because I think a lot of them are smart enough to realize this is good advertisements for us. And I've always struggled with anybody that fights having, like let me digress a little bit and go like to the Marathon Oil thing back in the
I was going to bring
2009, 2008, when they made the big stink about sim racing, specifically people in sim racing using their logo without their explicit written permission, which is stated right on their webpage, where you can download nice digital, copies of their logo. Unless you had their written permission to use it, you were using it against. You were breaking trademark law and breaking copyright laws. And they made us think about it. Said they were going to come after him and legislate.
Sue.
Sue. Basically.
Yeah,
Yes,
they're going to sue him
for the big important word. For
just say sue. That was one of the things with Brian Ring why he got out of it, because a lot of people think they were after him because of what he was doing. No, it wasn't his LP file alter, because that's all he basically did was LP file alters to make it more realistic. What they were after him for was the name change, the adding the BR to the name of the track. That's why they went after Brian Ring. And that's where the copyright law comes into effect. Now, a lot of these tracks, like what John Norton does, I'm actually surprised they haven't. Well, Riverside's not around anymore, but a lot of the track companies haven't gone after. Track owners haven't gone after after him, like Knoxville, adding his little moniker to him. If you release it without the little moniker with your name on it, you can have it in the README all you want, but in the track name. I don't think they have a problem. They didn't have a problem. They went after a couple of guys back then, including along with Brian, about the changing of the name. That's why I think Safer Barrier Project went away for a little while. Also, it was around the same time because of that problem. But then they stopped watching and paying attention because the community got dramatically smaller because of iRacing. That's the truth. The community shrunk by hundreds of thousands of guys because they all went iRacing. Now what's left is we probably have around 100,000 to 200,000 dedicated users still out there who still have the original disc. Those guys, but I lost my train of thought.
Well, rather let's try to stay away from history a little bit. And although the historical anecdotes are important to people realize that there is precedent in a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's important that people understand how copyright laws work. And so when people say that's illegal, because that's thrown around, that's illegal, and that's an illegal version, that's this thing, they use that a lot.
Yeah.
And then as far as giving credits and claiming copyright, claiming that they own something, there's a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding in our community. People that don't nothing, that have never held a copyright in their life and never dealt with the law, never read the law, are talking out their noses about this stuff. And they're using common sense and
lack of common sense.
And in a society that is so based on social justice and fairness, it's not fair. It's my I bought that. I should be able to do whatever I want. Most of the time, the sad part about music these days, when I turned on the radio the other day and the top 40 was on it, I'm thinking, how do they even know? How could they even know? No one buys hard copies of music anymore. I mean, it's all downloaded.
I do.
Everything is, and I know that I do too.
Because we're old.
But I because I'm involved in the music side of copyright law. I mean, I've bought several copies of things, over the years, just because I believe in, don't make a copy and leave it. I don't believe in making copies. I don't. It's not as good. But anyway, going back to this, that's my base, that's my paint, and it's a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. Dale Jr.'s number 88 car, and it's just it's a clone of it. You don't own that. You don't own. Don't
know the logos. Don't know the numbers. Don't know the color is copyrighted or patented or whatever.
Yeah, in most of those cases they are. I know that Petty Blue is definitely.
Well, it's actually Victory Red. It's actually a color available from Chevy for Dale Jr.'s car. It's called Victory Red. It is actually one of their colors. So
but the important thing is that every logo on every car is copyrighted and trademarked. And so when you You're talking, but I don't hear yours.
Oh, well, that's why they all have, if you look, a lot of them have a little circle on them with a little R on them, so 9 times out of 10 you can't see it, but they're there.
Yep.
They're there. It's all registered. I for one, I know I break it every time I make mine to my cars. I break laws left and right, you know, but
and even if you recreate that same logo,
it's still illegal.
You're just copying something, and so that's plagiarism.
Exactly.
So this idea that you own or that you created something, yeah, you may have done the work and you actually digitally made something. It's not your intellectual property, so you have no rights to claim. No, so when you throw up your Dale Jr. number 88 car
50,000 times,
you're whining because I didn't get credit. Well, you didn't give credit to anybody that created. No. You don't even know who created that scheme. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Those people own those schemes. You know. So I've talked about this on the side for a long time. That because Stunod Racing is one of the few sites that still does hold the line as far as making sure people put credits up, and then we're lax in that sometimes too because it's just an endless battle. People don't understand.
Yeah. Crediting Google.
No one wants to put in the time to type out. I got this here, I got this here, I got this here, and that's actually not even giving credit. Where you got it has nothing to do with who owns it.
Yeah, who made it, who owns it, whoever. Yeah.
So it's kind of the game we're playing, and this is my main point. It's a game we're playing as far as credits. If you want to credit somebody for doing work on a fictional base, that's valid. But crediting someone for doing a base for a Dale Jr. car or the latest Kevin Harvick car, that's stupid. I mean, it's important. It's important that these people are acknowledged for doing the work, but the idea that they own any kind of right to that's not right. No. That's not right. That's a game, and I just wish we were, I guess, more honest and more truthful and knowledgeable about what we're saying.
It's not
and we talk about a logo all the way up to a track or a mod. When these mod makers when they model the latest Camaro, guess what NASCAR owns that model.
Exactly.
I don't care if you make
Chevy owns the bow tie.
You're doing unless you create some kind of obvious flaw in your thing, and then it becomes an original thing, And
that's why
no one wants to do.
And that's why our factory stock cars fail, because they're not Chevy, Toyota, and Ford. They're some hybrid of the same thing. That's why nobody wanted to run them. They didn't have the bow tie, they didn't have the oval and the whatever the hell, the T on it. Big frickin' hairy deal.
NASCAR has the biggest open hands on the planet. Where's my check?
Yep.
That's they've got whole office buildings full of people, protecting their copyrights and trademarks. That's what they do all day long.
All day, every day.
Find these little things. I'm surprised that they know that it's mostly kids in this in the sim racing world, and there is no money. And they also realize there is a PR and there is an advertising or publicity side to it, So they don't want to create bad ill will by coming after the people that are actually their biggest fans, So that's why, for the largest part, NASCAR sim racing is safe, But trust me, you mess with Porsche, you start creating a Porsche 911 and calling it a Porsche 911, Diedrich's going to be on your porch the next day. I mean, und wer did you say? Could you show me the paperwork where you got the permission to do this car? Because this is obviously a copy. This is a copy of our car.
Now I'm going to fill you in a little history.
I slipped from German to Scottish in that accent.
I know you did. I know. You want to know who set NASCAR off on Brian Ring? Do you want to know who did it? And there is no video proof of it anymore because they keep.
Give me a hint. Give me a hint.
Well,
is it somebody within the community? Is somebody within the sim racing community?
Both. Somebody who was involved in both.
Okay, but his major claim to fame is
NASCAR racing. NASCAR racing.
I'm gonna say it's Dale Jr.
Dale Jr. Talladega, when he pushed, was it 2006 when he pushed Martin Truex to the win in the then Busch Series race, and he said over the radio it was just like Talladega BR. There is no video proof of this anymore because NASCAR made sure all those videos got pulled. I've looked numerous times for the proof of this, and it's not out there. You cannot find it. That is where it is, and at the end of the race, I can't remember who the reporter was, but they said if you want to be a big-time stock car racing, go out and get a computer. And they talked about the Talladega BR for a few minutes over that interview. That is where the sim racing role came under the microscope. Nobody wants to believe it, but because there's no proof of it. I cannot prove it. I remember it like it was yesterday. But that is where we came under the microscope. Plain and simple. And we were under the microscope for how many years? For like 5 years we were under the microscope.
Yeah, and then I think they really realized there's no money. So
no, there isn't. Exactly.
And all they do is create ill will with their biggest fans.
The only fans.
With the people with the toy steering wheel in front of them and in front of the computer, those are the guys that are their biggest diehard fans. And if they go after them, they're going to put a sour taste in their mouth.
You ever notice, though, that there is no illegal download for this? GTR 2. There is no illegal download for NASCAR Thunder 2004. There is no I'll hear. I posted this yesterday. Just a little side note. This came out in 94. The NASCAR Racing. That's the disc that I got. There is no illegal download for NASCAR Racing 4, which is almost as good. There is no illegal download for NASCAR Sim Racing. There is no illegal download for GTR 2. There is no illegal download for Arca Sim Racing. There is no illegal download for GTR Evo. Why is there an illegal download for NASCAR 2003? That's my question. Why do we have an illegal download for it anywhere? Why? Because iRacing. I honestly think that's the crux of the matter. People don't want to pay, or somebody's parents don't want to pay the $9, $12 a month plus the content for their kid to drive NASCAR. So they go out and they download it illegally, not realizing that they're downloading it illegally. Because I've done my fair share of illegal downloading. I once had like 10 gigabytes of downloaded illegal movies, 20 gigabytes of downloaded illegal music. I don't have them anymore, but I used to. I mean, I'm guilty as the next guy. I think everybody's downloaded something illegal in their life at one time or another. If you're on the internet, you downloaded something illegal. There's no two ways about it. Whether it be a picture, because pictures are copyrighted
even out of ignorance,
Yeah.
Oh look, you're thinking, hey look, it's on the internet, it must be free, it must be legit, because they wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't. I'm looking right at a copy of an illegal full version of GTR 2.
Really?
Download right now.
Wow.
I don't think I should link you. Otherwise.
No. We don't want to link it. I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised. I've never heard of that.
New games box. They have all kinds of new stuff. They have all kinds of stuff like that.
Wow.
For
free?
There's an R Factor 2. R Factor 2 free download. Right there on the same page. Automobilista free download. Right
Wow. Wow.
I'm looking right at them. So trust me, as soon as these things come out, I imagine there's a PCAR 2 somewhere. Let's just look. I'm just gonna look.
Well, is there?
Yeah, I mean this. If it's out there,
I've never looked, so that's my. I don't. Once I figured out all this, I don't look for it anymore. I went out and bought it. Now, a lot of this stuff I bought in used bookstores. Believe it or not, most of my Sims came from used bookstores. You never know where you're gonna find. Some of them came from Goodwill. You never know what you're gonna find. Look. When I go into Goodwill here in town, which is a crappy Goodwill, because it's a crappy little town.
I'm not 100% sure.
You technically not allowed to resell them either,
but reselling them is probably illegal.
It is. It is illegal. It's just
I mean, in the strictest sense of the copyright trademark laws, that's probably illegal.
It is.
You can't resell.
You're not supposed to, but they still do.
Because you know, and you're supposed to carry the receipt. You know, by the strictest standard, if you don't have the receipt for your copy of NR 2003 from an original retailer, guess what? You're in, and so it sounds like it's impossible to not break the law. Well, you know what? It kind of is. It's kind of impossible. I didn't buy either copy of my NR 2003 from a retailer. I bought my copy of NASCAR Legends from a retailer, and my copy of NASCAR 4 from a retailer, and both of my all my EA stuff is from retailers. But I bought both of my NR 2003s off eBay. So I bought
my NASCAR Racing 2003 season from Walmart the day it came out.
And
you think I have my receipt from 15 years ago?
my GTL. I think my GTL I bought at a Payless. I mean, Pick and Save, which is Rite Aid. I think that's where I found it. I was walking by the shelf and went, oh, you know, they usually have old software, old computer software.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at that. GTL.
You never know what you're going to find.
I bought GTL. So, you know, big old double, you know, star, whatever. So I bought that. But I bought my GPL. I bought it from eBay, you know. So, you know, I have R Factor. Let's see, where did my R Factor? I have 2 R Factors.
I bought that from R Factor, but that's in an old email account that doesn't exist anymore, so I don't have the receipt for that either. But this here, I bought NASCAR Racing 4 at a garage sale for $1.
Back to that, going back to that larger point about copyright. See, people want it to make common sense. Well, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
I have to have the receipt for it. Well, yeah, you do technically. You know, in the grown-up world, when you're gonna be adulting, you have to realize the laws sometimes are hard to keep.
Weird.
Hard to stay within the lines. It's hard to stay within the lines because who's gonna keep receipts for all this crap? Well, you know, I know some people probably have a receipt taped inside their, you know, their box for their NR 2003. So, you know, so to think that you can just nip onto some site and download that game because it's abandonware.
There's no such thing as abandonware.
Yeah, that. I mean, you can. Yeah, it says in Wiki. Let's see what a Wiki says. Abandonware. Let's see what they say it is. My abandonware. My abandonware official site. Abandonia. Okay, abandonware. So now let's all remember what Wiki is. Wiki is a public encyclopedia
that everybody can alter.
And so anybody can put in there, and they can put any kind of BS on. Trust me, as a Trans Am amateur historian, trust me, I know that most of the stuff you read is just a little bit off. Abandonware is a product, typically software, ignored by its owner and manufacturer, and for which no support is available. Although such a software is usually still under copyright, it says it right there. The owner may not be tracking copyright violations. In intellectual rights context, intellectual rights context, abandonware is a software or hardware, special cases of the general concept of orphan works. Now, so now they got another word. Definition may vary. So in the first line it says that it's still under copyright. So that means the rights. And what is a copyright? Copyright is a legal right existing in many countries that grants the creator of an original work exclusive rights to determine whether and under what conditions this original work may be used by others. This is usually only for a limited time. The exclusive rights are not absolute, but limited by limitations and something else.
Wrong keyboard.
Anyway, blah 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 blah. But just the way that definition was written, it's written towards the idea that you know that there's wiggle room, and that's wrong. Copyrights are black and white. They're not gray. You either have the right or you don't. And in most cases you don't. And you should assume that if you want to be, you know, on the side of the law. So not that the copyright police aren't making, canvassing neighborhoods and saying, can I see all your CDs, cassettes, and VHS tapes?
Yeah,
Let's see
exactly.
what you got.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got. Do you have the original copy of this? See, because that's the other thing. If you have a copy of something, you better have the original too.
Well,
Because you're allowed. You are generally allowed by copyright law to make one copy for yourself, but it doesn't mean you get rid of the original. Well, then it's not the original because that's what people do.
No.
Because that's illegal. See, so what you want the law to say, so that you can have what you want, which is the ultimate thing. Everybody's selfish, and they want the law to say what they want it to say for selfish reasons.
oh yeah.
But they could care less about. Well, those guys are rich. They don't need all this money, and they're not going to make any money. And this is dead. No, trust me. It's been proven in recent history that the owners of the copyright of the NR 2003 exec are paying attention, and they may not be looking in your computer today, but they may be looking tomorrow. And so, any site that has NR 2003 up there as a free download, with a complete working copy of it. You're nuts. You're nuts.
They are, and I do know one site, and that's I do know one site that has it. And I'm not going to say who it is, but it's insanity.
Oh,
it's insanity. It really is. Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna Google. I'm just gonna Bing it. Oh, this is Yahoo search. This isn't even Bing or Google. Let's just Yahoo search it.
Well,
2000.
guess what? If I come right here, it's on my screen.
Copy. Legal copy of NASCAR 2003. Oh, guess
legal?
What it is. Yeah, it says legal copy of NASCAR 2003.
It better not be denied, because we'll have to go look for it and get rid of it.
It's not there, but I'm not going to say where it is. Okay, obviously that new games box, that site that I was talking about with the other ones, they have it. YouTube's got several videos of where you can get it.
Yep. Yep.
I'm actually surprised that there's not more. Okay, there's another site.
Well, that just bothers me.
What is this?
Where the hell did it go? Oh, there it is. I should move it to the top of the list. That way I can find it easier.
Yes. Yeah, so there's, download free, full game, free download. Same sites came up. Here's a torrent site. Yeah, let's do a torrent site so they can track you.
Yeah, oh yeah. I got rid of all my torrents a long time ago.
Yeah, now we know who's got it and how they're getting it.
Yep.
Set up this new games box that I've mentioned 3 or 4 times. They seem to have everything that you want in this world.
Oh,
and see, kids don't care about that. They just want what they want, and then they have all these problems, and they can't figure out. And they're the ones asking all the questions. About how I can't get my game to run. I can't just the no CD thing doesn't work. Well, guess why?
Yeah,
because you don't have this.
You don't have the disc. So it don't work.
In the open, I'll say. That's why when I see something like that, I go and ask those obvious questions. So why don't you just use your original disc?
That's why I always say if it's time for a reinstall.
Why don't you just reinstall? Yeah, reinstall with your original disc.
Yeah.
And they always say, always him and haw, but they never come out and say, I don't have it that way.
No, they don't.
So, if you believe that it's legal, why don't you just say that? Because they know. They know.
Carry on the conversation for 2 minutes. I gotta take a leak.
Oh, I gotta carry on. Okay,
well, I don't think you can. I don't think you know how to shut up.
Let me see. You can win now. And he puts up the iRacing versus Robinson famous lawsuit, where iRacing, i.e. First Racing, decided they were going to slap somebody. And thus they did, and proved that they do have fingers and hands, and they can reach out and smack you. And people want to play with that all the time, and just out of principle, they should keep everybody honest. Will they? Who knows? It's a gamble that people are making. That's what's going on. They're just deciding whether or not I don't think they're going to do anything, so I'm going to just do whatever I want. Well, I don't think that most of the third-party people making tracks, mods, blah, 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 are actually going to, go to court.
No, they're not.
Filing papers.
No.
I don't see that happening. But, it could happen. They're well within their legal rights, but then, a smart defense lawyer is going to say, I'm sorry. You own the rights to this property, said property?
Well,
isn't this the property of so and so and so and so? And aren't you the wrong person suing me? You actually are in, transgression of these laws and rights yourself. So, court judge is gonna, these things have never hit court.
Oh, they won't.
These things have never hit court.
Remember who owns most of the NASCAR tracks? Remember, yeah. So that's why Brian Ring got into trouble, because who owns most of the NASCAR tracks? NASCAR. So you obviously don't think NASCAR, and I know First Racing and NASCAR, they've got to have some kind of tie-in together, whether it's on the surface or it's way deep down, which is where I believe it is. It's way deep down, because all of a sudden EA Sports lost the gaming rights, and I thought they were supposed to have it for 5 years, and I only think they had it for 3. That iRacing kind of bought it out, or First Racing, whatever they want to call themselves, bought the rights from EA Sports because they put out, nobody was buying their product, but that's beside the point. And somehow iRacing or First Racing and NASCAR, they're like this. They're like this. And any NASCAR sim that comes out, whether it be for the computer or the console, I'm sure iRacing has something for First Racing. It's all like this. They're going to make money off of it. I'm 90% sure it's all tied in together. That there's no way that NASCAR and First Racing are letting whoever's making Heat make all the money. I'm sure. Well, I know NASCAR gets their cut because of the name on there, but I'm sure iRacing.
That's all they do.
Yeah.
That's all they do is stuff their fingers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the NASCAR.com site, and it's got the 2018 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
Yep.
I mean,
yep.
They obviously own a series. Yeah, it's sanctioned by NASCAR.
Yeah.
And iRacing determined the best virtual stock car racer in the world. Their money is intermingled.
Oh yeah, and, you know it. They're in bed together.
So here's what that means. The reality of that means you receive a letter from somebody representing iRacing or NASCAR. You just count on the fact that you already owe them millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they've decided to do that, they've had meetings and they've been tabulating all along their legal costs to start some kind of litigation against you. And guess what? The day you get that letter, they've already determined you owe them $2.6 million.
Exactly.
That's the way it is. So if you have that kind of horsepower, you put up your video mouthing off. You do this. You do this. You do this.
Yeah.
Person mouthing off doesn't realize you're not slapping all these individual track makers. You're slapping NASCAR.
Oh yeah.
You're slapping iRacing. That's who you're slapping with your big potty mouth. That's who you're that's the dog on the other side of the fence that you're hitting. You're messing with a stick. You think you're just being big and bad and going at bad mouthing some stupid league somewhere that is just trying not to break laws by freely distributing tracks.
Right.
It's so funny. People are bending over backwards trying to stay within some kind of imagined legal when they've already transgressed it 10 miles.
Oh,
I mean, it's like it's like, really, if you think you really have an understanding about something, why don't you go study it and realize the tentacles of copyright law are multiplied by 1,000,000 and varied. They're everywhere, and trust me, if they wanted to come after us on copyright law, none of us would own a computer or a home.
No, I mean, not the least bit.
They'd have us, because I look around my house and I see copies of I actually see VHS tapes.
Oh my God.
And if and the thing is if I decided to put those on eBay. You know, my wife collected all the old Disney classics. You know, when they opened the vaults. The Disney vaults have opened and Bambi came out. You
For the 15,000th time.
The gold, yeah, but you know, every time they open, so we have those, and they're all sitting right on a shelf in the living room.
My daughter does the same thing.
And if I decided I wanted to go on eBay and try to sell those, I would be in transgression of copyright law, and people don't get that. You know, you don't own that. You know, you're just a user. You're a user.
Unless your name is Disney, you can't. You're not legal.
The only reason I'm pushing this to the extreme is so that people understand copyright law is not what you think it is. It isn't that you bought something, now you own it, and you can do whatever the heck you want with it. You know, it isn't that way.
No.
And so when you think that you're out there in safe territory, 90% of the time you're not. You know, when you gave that mixtape to your friend, hey, man, here's a CD with a bunch of songs that I love. This is my favorite driving music. You broke the law. You broke the law. I mean, are they coming after you? No, there's no copyright cops. I wouldn't say. We don't live in that society. But, you know, if we lived in some totalitarian state, like some people believe we do, they would be at your door, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to be hiding behind you every time the phone rang. You wouldn't be answering your phone. And speaking of phones, all that crap on your phone is probably stolen, too. You know, and so it goes on and on and on and on and on.
Oh, yeah. It's just amazing.
Half of these big corporations that are out there taking money off of you for your downloads and ringtones and crap, half of them are in transgression of copyright law. So, you know, it's dirty, it's massive, and so people think, well, it doesn't matter. Well, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it really doesn't. So you can either take that cavalier attitude that it doesn't matter and do whatever the heck you want, take your chances, or you can be the guy that received that $2.5 to $1.6.7 million lawsuit paperwork, and they're going to make an example out of you. And you say, well, I ain't got any money. I'm a minor, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to come after your parents, and guess what? Parents are going to take your computer away.
Oh, yeah. And
I told you he was in there doing something he shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's not watching porn.
I'll start doing that afterwards.
He's watching stolen NASCAR tapes, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
people that, you know, I just, you know, we had a high blood pressure week in this community because of some, you know, Dilbert. But
that's why I brought it up.
What it does do is it draws attention to the fact that you don't know copyright law,
or you don't know jack shit.
And so, and we never really touched on what he was saying. He was upset because
I don't want to touch on him.
He didn't want to have to look around for things. You know. You know,
I touched on that yesterday. There's no one-stop shopping for anything. I mean, if you want something, there is a couple of places you can. There is one particular site you can go to that. Where is it at? Racing game. Oh, that's real racing. Yeah, I got links for freaking everything. There is one particular site. If you want to go, this guy is putting in a ton of time. Is David Cooper. That's his name, right? David Cooper? I don't remember now.
I'm not sure where you're going. I don't know where you're going with this. So
well, if one-stop shopping. If you want,
but
he just.
I can't even think of a site that I would call one-stop shopping. Nothing comes to mind.
Nothing. There's links.
There were times. I don't remember. I don't even think of it that way. I'm so, if I want this, I go to there. If I want this, I go to there. If I go to this, and I have to search. Nowadays, the closest thing to any time of one-stop shopping is off the U.S. shores. And see, that's the other issue people don't even think about. There's international copyright law, and there's, you know, U.S. copyright law, and they don't always jive up.
No,
they don't always jive. What you're doing in this country might be legal, but out there it's not. You know, or out there it's legal, and in here it's not. And so, you know, there's all these sites that have all kinds of things, and yeah, you can download all day long. You know this. Now let's touch on the wild side. Let's talk about the commonsensical side. Yeah, I know. There is no common sense anymore. I know that. I mean, yeah, I never understood why people would eliminate the distribution, or would limit the distribution of things they create. Like they make a track, or they make a car set, or whatever, you know, a mod, anything, any third-party content. Why would someone limit the distribution of it, saying you can only be picked up at this site? We all learned outside of NASCAR 2003. We just recently learned this lesson the hard way with no grip going down, and everything that was gold was there. You know, just about everything was gold. You know, everything they felt was legal. A lot of their crap wasn't either. You know, so you know, everybody has this their narrow vision of what is legal, and they want to stay, and they're trying their best to try to stay within those parameters, and that's merited. You know, that's meritable. But what we find is that if mod maker A decides that he's going to put all of his eggs in one basket for the most part, and it's here, and then that site folds up because, you know, whatever, so-and-so's wife got tired of him spending $300 a year on a website,
a week,
or a week, or whatever,
yeah.
You know, because of bandwidth. But whatever, and then it just disappears overnight. Overnight, it disappears. And people, we spend, you know, a month, you know, fretting about it. When's it coming back? When's it coming back? It's not coming back. No. It's not. You know, the guy's probably breathed such a heavy sigh of release when he finally did pull the plug. You know, the thing's been dead. It's dead. I don't want to pay for it anymore. I don't want to pay for it. Pull the plug. You know, he could have went to somebody else, but no. As long as it's live, he feels like he should be involved. You know, so you know, there's a lot of ego involved, and I know that's the bottom line. A lot of ego is involved in all of this stuff. But it just seems weird to me that you would limit the distribution of something you created, because when you make it and you give it out, I think, isn't the idea is that you want to get it out to as many people? I mean, they all check and say, oh, look how many downloads I got. You know, maybe that's their way of, by limiting it, they can know what that number is. Hey, you know, when I released my first car set, the 85 Trans Am set, I thought if I got 25 to 30 downloads, I would be like high cotton. I thought, man, that's all I could ever ask for. You know, that thing's been downloaded a couple thousand times now, and I'm like still shocked. You know, I'm still shocked. And you know what? I went around when I released it. I didn't just dump it at one site. I went around to everybody and all their forums and made it available. I all pointed them all to my media, what's it called? Media Fire,
yeah.
And but there's some sites they didn't allow that, so I just uploaded it to their site. So you know, if I want to run down a number for it, I can still do it to some degree. But at some point, I just said, whatever. You know, it's successful. I'm happy with it. You know, and the next one, the next one, and the next one, and it all went that way. And I still see downloads for it. That gives me great pleasure. I don't need control of it. I don't care if anybody does anything with it. I wish they would do something with it, you know? If I see a video, I mean, every time you know, because if I do a Google search or Bing search or any search for something I'm looking for, most of the time, I'm going to see my own stuff. You know, that means, A, clear your browser. Also, it means that my stuff is out there and it's getting some hits still. So, you know, that gives me pleasure too. But that's all I need. I don't need control. I don't need to say, no, you can't use it. You know, now that's not like a track maker. I mean, I know a track maker, they spend infinite more time. I don't know that they do as much, you know, they don't probably have to work as hard on research in most cases, you know, but sometimes they do.
No, there's really only one person we can ask, and he's not online right now.
He's never online. I wish we could get John.
I know.
It's fascinating to pick apart the track making mind.
Yeah.
I have a million questions. I've never asked 3 questions in a single sitting of any track maker, and what they do is, I had a question last night. I was looking at something and it occurred to me. I think I was watching your video, and it occurred to me Is Sandbox the only way you can make a track for NR 2003?
I think you can in the 3D sim editor, but I am not 100% sure because I could never figure out how to do anything like that myself. I mean, back when Sandbox was released, I tried to make a track just to see if I could do it. I couldn't lay down 2 segments in a row with them being straight. So
I never got that. I never got to the end of the first line segment in the first segment.
Exactly.
It doesn't work the way my mind wants it to work.
Mm-hmm.
I want to draw a line, and this is my track, and then just say, okay, this track, fat. You know, I want to do it real intuitionally.
Well, you want point A to point B.
Sandbox doesn't work that way.
No, none of them do.
I understand that. I understand Bob the Track Builder, another copyright violation probably, is a lot easier to use. And I understand that people use 3. Hey, somebody showed up. Hey, whoever you are. Also, hey, it's our good friend Dale Tona. Dale Tona, Mr. Ian, how was the day greeting you?
Doing good. Just having breakfast. Just woke up. You know.
Oh,
what are we having for breakfast? What are we having for breakfast at the Dale Tona house?
I generally don't like talking about my meals because they're really nothing fancy.
Nothing fancy. I think that's a hidden clue.
It's probably a bowl of Cheerios.
Honey, he's having honey nut Cheerios.
Yeah, Captain Crunch.
And a banana. Oh, Captain Crunch. Oh, we grew up, Tigg. We grew up in the heyday of breakfast cereal.
Oh yeah.
You know, these kids, they got no clue. I mean, we had Quisp and Quake. Remember Quisp and Quake?
Yeah.
You know, and then we didn't have 14 flavors of Captain Crunch. We had Captain Crunch.
And,
you know, when they came out with the I don't remember the first. I think they had a berry something, but you know, when they started adding all these variations, sequels to the same cereal, that's not creative. No, we had the real deal. We had, you know, we had Sugar Shark. I mean, our Sugar Frosted Flakes, you could build an ark out of them. Because those things would never get soggy because they had 1.5 foot of sugar glazing. I mean, it was like Sugar Frosted Flakes. They don't call them Sugar Frosted Flakes anymore because that's bad. That's not.
Oh, and the bad part about it is they're just cornflakes with sugar on them.
And plus, yeah, exactly. But the issue is that they don't use sugar anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can't call them sugar. Sugar got mad, so they said we're leaving the act. But man, I used to love Sugar Frosted Flakes, and I always felt really good and had a lot of energy.
Oh yeah, it's just like the soft drinks.
Serious people eat Wheaties.
Oh, gross.
Gotta eat them Wheaties. Gotta eat them Wheaties.
Gross.
Wheaties.
I like Cheerios and Life. Not Cinnamon Life, regular Life.
Dan won't eat it. He hates everything.
No, I don't hate everything. I just so used to eating Cheerios and Life. That's all we grew up eating.
That was an allusion to the Mikey commercial.
Yeah, I know.
Let's get Mikey to eat it.
He hates everything. No, Dan don't like. I mean, after all, Dan eats the crap out of these things. So how can he hate everything?
My problem nowadays, as an adult, I don't have to have self-control if I don't want.
No, me neither.
And if I sit down when I eat cereal, like if I got Sugar Frosted Flakes, I could get my big bowl, massive bowl, fill it up,
Jethro bowl,
fill it with milk, and start eating. Yeah, exactly. Start eating it, and then when it got to a certain level, I'd say, there's more milk to cereal, so I could add some more cereal.
Exactly. Now let's talk about the reference to the Jethro bowl.
25 minutes later, the box is empty.
Yeah, and you still got milk.
and I still got milk. I got sugar, glazed
milk.
I mean, basically, I have ice cream without the ice. Is what,
Oh, Lordy.
Okay, that was a nice digression. Did you missed all of our serious talk about copyrights there?
Oh,
man?
you can watch the replay. You can watch the replay. We're not going to rehash it all.
No, we're not. We're not going to rehash it.
Oh God, no.
Yeah,
but it got the point across.
I could hear
crickets.
I could hear sign-offs all over the planet.
We never went over 3 viewers during the whole thing, so yeah.
but we basically laid down what the truth is about the law and copyrights and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And to summarize it, I could say basically, if you have it, you're in copyright violation. Basically everything we touch in NR 2003 is a matter of copyright violation. So
right.
So we can either make a big deal out of it, or we can just close our jaded eyes and move on.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically it.
That's basically, it's just that's just what it is, and it's, as long as First Racing and NASCAR shadow us in the background, somebody's going on Synod every day seeing what's on there. There is from First Racing and NASCAR. There is. There's no way in hell that their lawyers or their people that they have sitting behind desks, they're not going to Synod once a day, at least once a day, looking to see what's out there.
Yeah.
There
are some corporations, and NASCAR has, like I say,
they have. So does First Racing. They
have a 1 million or 2 million square foot office facility full of cubicles of people that are just, of course nowadays they have computers that can do searches without having to.
Yeah. They just Google it.
Let's just Google it and see what's up.
Let's see what comes up. Let's just Google it.
No, they have real search engines. They don't have.
No, I know.
They don't have the factory mazes set up with where the destination is the same every time.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian knows this. When you do serious research for paint car sets or something, you realize how quickly everything is pre-manufactured as far as searches. That they want you to go to a destination and better off to find some college's search engine. I used to use web crawler way back in the day, and web crawler was a college put this together, and so their idea was to get good results, and they weren't influenced by money and things, people trying to point you at product or whatever, mindset. That's the main thing. There's a lot of brainwashing going on through Google, and I generally don't use Google because I know that it's so commercially tainted. So I want my results, And it's amazing because a lot of new stuff is coming up every day on the internet. I mean, this, Ian, as NASCAR swells and its footprint on the web, as older guys that have these old photo collections, as they get kind of some internet savvy, and the grandkids got them set up, and Grandpa started scanning all his pictures in and stuff. Man, it's amazing what stuff come out. I mean, there are pictures of everything that we're looking for out there. It's just, is it on the internet yet today?
I found a picture of backmarker car that was posted a few years ago that I didn't even know.
Exactly. So you can't. I mean, you can do the same search. The problem is if you do the search, clear your browser, and then do it again, and you might get new results. Something that just got loaded up, and it just be coincidence that you happen to do it right then. So anytime, like if I get and right now that's a lot. How this is. You get 4 sets going or whatever, and they're very research heavy, and you get away from that. You almost have to start over, because if you get back to it, everything has changed. That's kind of why I kind of curse the vintage racing associations and Trans Am, because they're taking over the internet. Now you type in Trans Am this or that, and you get a picture of a car that ran last weekend at Sonoma. It's like that's the car I'm looking for, but it's not exactly right because it's not exactly right, you know.
Mhm.
Because they didn't go as far as we're going when they researched it for a real restoration. I mean, that cracks me up. You know, when I was doing my car sets, I mean, I had a guy down in Australia who owned, or New Zealand, who owned one of the cars from the 88, 85 Trans Am series. He owned the car and he wanted to put it back in original paint, and he got a hold of me. I mean, that to me, that showed me how powerful this hobby is. I mean, to actually be able to help somebody with that was awesome. And I just sent him my flat and said, "Here's what it looks like." Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, isn't that cool though?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the guy actually puts his fingers on the car every day, and took me weeks to find the thing, and I find it, and I made my little copy and moved on. You know, he gets wind of it and asks me if I have a copy of it. Yes, I do.
Yes,
I have a digital copy.
Digital.
It's a digital, uncopyrighted copy.
Uh-huh.
Because I can't copyright somebody else's copyrighted material.
Oh, no, you
that's
can't.
Against copyright law. Okay. So today's password is copyright.
Yeah,
So
right.
what are you showing us, Tigg? What's on your mind there, Professor Tigg?
I'm not a professor.
In the Professor Tigg section of our program today.
No, you're right. Professor my ass.
Tigg brings us. Oh, I thought that was NASCAR racing in the snow there.
No.
There it is again. NASCAR racing in the snow. Oh, I've seen this
That's
before.
from the webpage Tommy Spotter Guy.
I
Mhm.
love this.
Mhm.
I love spotter guides. I have a real soft place in my heart for spotter guides.
Yeah.
I think this ought to be part of every new mod.
Yeah,
They ought to
it should be.
doing this.
It's like last night when I was I'm preparing to do a race with the 72 with that 72 mod, and trying to figure out,
Wait a minute.
trying to remember who was in the series at that time, and because there's like 200 cars or something in that mod. There's a ton of cars in that mod, and I just want to do it just for,
honestly,
for the neatness of it. But you know,
Oh, where's the 75 car? So, yeah, I love that 75 car. That
You had a Remington one?
No,
Oh,
the other
yeah.
one. No, the other one. Not the. What was it? What were you driving?
last night
Tig, what were you driving? No, what were you driving yesterday? What year was that? 99.
the 99, yeah, the 99
No,
mod.
98.
Well, 98.
Car in there.
This was 98.
Yeah, I was in the 98 set.
Yeah. Okay, so in the 98. Okay, so that doesn't apply. That 75 and 95 and 98. That was an awesome car.
Mm-hmm. I think the
I
cars
never-
are so much
I
better
never
looking
seen
back
that.
then.
I do think so too. I look at this set and I say, why do you need any other sets?
Huh?
Really? I mean, why would you? Look at this set. I mean, my God. Look at that. It's got everything. Everything you ever want to look at in a race car. That's it. The classic Terry Labonte.
Yeah.
The classic Mark Martin. Oh my gosh.
This
My
is a beautiful
personal
set.
car is actually based off of the 1997 number 75 car. That's one of my favorite schemes, and what made this the number 75 Remington Ford. Yeah, that's the car that made me choose the number 75 as my number.
That's
That
amazing.
car right there.
Those should exist for every year. Wouldn't it make things so if they had 3 view or 4 view of every year? Oh, life would be so easy.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I mean, Ian's gonna blow a cork when I say this, but compared to Trans Am, NASCAR painting is so much easier.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Especially today's
my
cars.
God.
You got one
I mean,
car
you know,
maybe with a
I-
hard scheme. The rest of them are so easy
make
today.
You make 4. No, I'm not. I'm just talking about finding source material.
Oh yeah, well that too.
I mean, there's so many one-off guys. I mean, I know that's true in NASCAR too, more so in the old days than it is now.
Yeah.
But there's very few one-off guys.
No, because they can't afford it. They can't.
That's a dying.
They can't
Yeah,
afford
that's
it.
what's wrong with the sport.
Yeah, they
There's
wanted to
no-
make it cheaper, and it's just more expensive. That's all.
There was.
The thing of it is, you paint schemes for the 2018 mod. Starcom cars aren't even out there. I've yet to find any Starcom. I know they came to the show late, but finding the 2 Starcom cars for download anywhere, forget about it. Forget about it.
You know the
I think
problem.
it may be including some of these stuff. I know I have at least a few variations because I have been collecting just about every race by race. So if you want to, I could potentially send you them over.
No, be my guest.
I
Especially that Zero, the Miller High Life from the Miller High Life scheme from Darlington this year. That was beautiful. I thought that was one of the most beautiful cars they put out this year for the throwback cars because it was pretty much looked like it.
The most beautiful car on the track this year is a copy of a car from 1988. I mean, and that's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, really. And I've always said, I mean, the old cars were more colorful in a way. They might not have had so many cute swirls and swishes and stuff, but they were more iconic. I mean, guys can look at those cars and say, "Oh, that's from this year and this year."
Exactly.
You can't do that these days. I mean, it's like, well, that could have been anything in the last 3 years. It could have been one of those cars.
You could throw up from these years. From these years, you could throw up just the base. You can throw up the base from the cars from this year, from these years, just the base. No stickers, no nothing on them, just the base. And people say, "Oh, that's this person's car. Oh, that's that person's car." You can't do that nowadays, unless it's like Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch. I mean, yeah, but the sponsorships are changing so fast, and they're throwing so many stickers on the cars. It's not even funny anymore. You can't even recognize half these cars, but they have the stickers on them.
Yeah, but look at Kyle Busch's car. It's just a variation on a scheme.
On the 30,
it's the same old scheme.
It's been the
36 car.
Yeah, the 36 car from way back when, and 38, and
36, and then 38,
and now 18. It's the same car over and over again. I mean, Tide Ride looked the same for how many years, but it worked.
But and it still comes out every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that people like it.
Mm-hmm.
They like that. I mean, they just like it, and that's what people complained for years. Jimmy Johnson ran the same dang scheme practically. You know?
Yeah.
I like schemes that evolve and don't just go willy-nilly to something else. You know?
Yeah, that's another example I'll bring up, the hypocrisy of the NASCAR fan base. Because they say, "Oh, we need this."
Don't.
Oh, I want. They keep talking about the good old days, like the 80s and such. They complain about the field not being competitive and drivers running away. And they bring up the 80s where cars were 80s, and especially the 50s, 60s, and 70s where cars would win by like one entire lap or two. And then they say that, oh, iconic schemes are those that stay the same and evolve over time. And then when you get a team like Penske, which sort of is doing that, just different colors on the same base, so like, oh, switch it up, it's boring. And really, it's hard for not only the brass don't know what the sport needs, the fans can't even agree on what the sport wants, and they keep falling back on their opinions every time something else changes.
That's because
they can't have it all.
They're They're out of touch.
Well, the Penske schemes, the Penske cars having 3 cars with the same scheme is cheaper because they don't have to reprogram the computer to paint. They just change the color on the whatever the hell they call it, the skins they put on the cars. It's easier just to change the color and not completely change the program. It's the same car. It's easy. It's done. It's cheaper and easier.
But yeah, skins, graphic skinning, wrapping changed everything because when you had to paint the car, some of these schemes that these guys do nowadays, that would be a big, long, hairy, week-long paint job.
Well, everybody
were really good guys. These, you can get a guys these wrapping cars is amazing to me.
Oh, I watched it. It's cool as hell.
I've used wrapped. I had a friend that had a body shop, and he got a job putting wraps on semi-trailers, and we had to do the whole fleet. Oh my God, getting those air bubbles out and stuff. Just because I think what they use now is so much better than what we used.
And people complain about Penske, having the same scheme on all three cars. But then you look at F1, team cars are exactly the same.
Yeah.
They're exactly the same. The only thing different is the number and the helmet. That's how you tell the two cars apart.
Or a one wing face.
Yeah.
I have never been a fan of. It's funny. I go both ways on that. I have in offline racing at Zoom. I was dead against team schemes, mainly because most of the people that did it were just trying to, they want to get 4 cars up on a team, and they just would blow out. It's easy, and it's like, you know what? I'm over here painting 300 cars for this series, and you're painting 4, and you can't come up with 4 new paint schemes. But then some people, that's what they did. So I kind of got over it.
And some people like it.
I just
it's easier to identify.
Here's the deal. They weren't looking at the thing for 300 laps or whatever like I was.
And it's easier for them to identify their teammate on the track too. Hey, that's my teammate.
Yeah, in racing that way, yeah. But when you're watching something, who is that?
Which one is that?
One of the cars is it?
Yeah. Well, we did that when FMS. We had team cars, and we would pull them out every once in a while, but we didn't run them that often. And when I made our team cars, I made for the team I was on at the time. I made the numbers bright. I mean, you could see them. I mean, it was a dark scheme and a nice bright. You make it bright.
Evernham did, but you could tell the Evernham cars apart. But the 9 had the white,
and
the 19 had the green, had the lime green, and they also had different colors on the grill tape.
Right.
And
that's what I did.
When they brought out the 91 for Dick Trickle which DNQ'd, they put blue on his.
Yeah.
But the other teams, they did the same. They did the same colors. They did the dark, whatever the paint scheme was the same. But they used one color for all the cars as opposed to different colors on different cars. So you couldn't tell who you were around without really looking at the car. And that's where you got to get some creative going when you're doing a team set car. Because my team cars, everybody said, "Well, you run your team car again." It's because ours was colorful and bright, and you could tell who they were. Other teams, wasn't that way, and that's what's going. If they want to go a la F1 and make team cars, well, Red Bull started it all. Both their cars looked exactly the same, except for some minor details. Really started all with the exact same paint scheme. The Everham cars were slightly different. There were different stickers on them, but the Red Bull teams they looked exactly the same. I mean, there was no variation except for the numbers. They had the same stickers. They had the same everything on them. They were in the same spot.
Yeah, I remember 2007, but because to avoid confusion, Brian Vickers had to have yellow numbers and Ace Elmdinger had to have red.
Right, and that's what they do. Yeah.
So that the spotters could see which car it was.
That's the important thing.
That's more important than what it is for.
I have to say, on the whole, that race to race, and especially this year, I think the schemes are getting better. And I think it's because there's less swirly, swishy stuff, and it's just basic, good-looking paints. I think we're seeing more of that. You know what I mean? They don't have to be as... And I think that the throwbacks are teaching these guys. I think they're teaching them. Hey, let's not do something that looks so...
boring?
I think some of these guys... I think some of these guys would keep throwback schemes, I think they would.
Well, the smaller teams
the drivers feel good about driving. I think the drivers, because, I don't know what a wrap costs, but I bet you it ain't cheap.
No, I know it ain't cheap.
It ain't cheap. Yeah. And it does take
time. Then again, these big teams have dollars to throw away, and besides, to cut costs one area, they're just going to dump it in another. That's why cost-saving measures don't work. If you think about it, the big teams have dug NASCAR's grave because they keep outspending in a spending war. So like what happened to CART, and they complain that they can't keep up, that they're barely breaking even, but they're the ones that are spending all the money to be competitive. So they're digging your own grave.
And they're the ones that get all the sponsors, so they're the ones that get all the money. I mean, the small, like Starcom. I mean, granted, it's small. They've got 2 cars on the track. and they finish in the 30s every race. If they finish the race at all, but they're there and they get the least amount of attention. That's the sad part about it.
Front row.
They're
front row.
That's why when I went to Las Vegas, I would always focus. I'm one of the few people who actually legitimately cares about the back markers, and I often look at the back markers and their results and sort of support them. But when I was at the Vegas race, I actually saw a hoot and holler every time Timmy Hill's 66 would pass by. Say, hey, there's Timmy. Give him some support.
Do you know there's more racing in the back of the pack than there is in the front of the pack?
So slow. Yeah.
There's more action usually in the back of the pack than there is in the front of the pack because they're all just trying to pass for the lead. Well, in the back, they're passing each other for 30th, 29th, 35th. Yeah.
Survival.
Yeah. Because those valuable points. 1 point makes a world of difference. One place. And
it's the money. The money. It's the money. That's
valuable points and valuable money.
Yep, and that's why that's why I watch. I get bored with NASCAR televised races because it's okay. Let's watch the 20 take 15 laps to pass the 18 or whatever. You know. It's,
that's your guy. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, but
unfortunately there are 35 other guys out there.
34,
that most
33.
People want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't only saw.
When I fantasize my broadcast, but I imagine a segment for every 20, 30 laps that would be called "Through the Pack." But
they used to do that, and they don't even. They can't. They never get past 14 cars. They never do.
They get the 14 cars is usually top 10.
Yeah, so the Through the Pack segment would be a segment dedicated to going all the way down the order to
Fox used to do that.
Close battles.
Fox used to do that. Fox used to do that. And worked their way from.
That way, if they started
even when I spectate my Interturn D races, sometimes I drop my camera to the rear just to see if like Jeremy Mayfield or Ricky Rudd during my 2007 races I was simulating. Jeremy Mayfield is running the top 30. Which he doesn't do often. I would occasionally focus on him for a few laps, catch up and see how he does. I would occasionally check further back in the pack because those guys are as interesting as the guys in the front. When 3 people are pulling away single file, sometimes it's more fun to see the pack, to go back in the pack and see these underdogs and see how well they're holding up.
Fox used to do that, and Fox stopped doing that when ABC lost their end of the contract. They only did it for the first couple of years they were in. That's what made Fox. That's why I enjoyed Fox. Fox was so much better at showing what was going on in the back, in the middle, and not just up front. Especially at places like Talladega and Daytona, where hell, places change every 10 feet. And it's just, they would talk about that stuff. And that's one of the cool things about Darrell Waltrip is he was very knowledgeable. Darrell Waltrip now has lost his mind, and he should not be in the booth anymore. Unfortunately. I mean, that was the most enjoyable part of watching a Fox broadcast back in the day.
That's one of my guilty pleasures. I love me some DW.
Oh yeah, I still like it, but sometimes he starts talking back in the day when he would talk about, now this is what we used to do here. If they were at that point in the race, and that when they had his crew chief on there, what's his name? I can't even think of his name anymore.
Jeff
Hammond. Those two would start talking, and they say, "Remember when we were here and we did this?" And they would talk for a good 2-3 minutes about what they did, and that was the most interesting part of it. Now Fox has gotten to the point where they're going like what do you call it? NBC and ABC. Let's just talk about the guys up front and see what they're doing, and not talk about the situations. Not talk about oh well, he needs to adjust his line a little bit to see if he can get around him. They don't. They talk about that a little bit, but
I think Waltrip, I read somewhere that Fox is paying him to do as Waltripisms or what, his act like a crazy senile old man.
What? Say that again, Ian? What are you saying?
But Daryl Waltrip, they're trying, that during the practice broadcast, their world trip was pretty okay, but when it comes to race, NBC wants or presents
Fox.
the crazy senile old man
Fox.
side of him.
Well, it's, you know,
And
it's kind of believable. I mean, they're trying to. The thing with the broadcasting is the more I watch it, the more. I mean, I've been watching NASCAR since the '70s. Okay, so and Bill's probably been watching it just as long or longer. The broadcasting has always been pretty much the same. It's not really changed. When Fox came in, that was their thing. They were a little bit different, but now they've gone to the same, and it's just that's why I get bored with it. I get bored with it, and the announcing bores the living daylights out of me. The camera. I love it when they do to crank it up because they don't talk. Crank it up is the best part of any broadcast as far as I'm concerned. I don't even crank it up. I just enjoy watching because they'll go around. That's the few times they'll actually go around the pack to get the sounds because it's, you know, if the guys race 3 cars are racing up front, there's no sound. You go back to 19th, 20th, there's 5 or 6 cars racing for 19th place. There's going to be a lot of sound. That's the best part of the broadcast, as far as I'm concerned. They can do that all freaking broadcast, as far as I'm concerned. So, but
okay, I'm gonna give us a left turn here, a right turn. Let's talk about Cody H Gaming's 15 Things.
Oh,
NASCAR 2003 video.
oh yeah,
I shared that.
That was epic, wasn't it?
I shared it
Epic
every.
or what?
It was epic. It was very epic.
Didn't that give you a warm feeling about the thing? Didn't it
That's-
make you want to go out and do a race? Didn't
That's-
it make you want to run a race?
One of the besides our conversations, Bill, that was the main thing that made
opposites.
me doing mostly nice and our 2K racing on my live streams. That video was on course.
Polar opposite videos. Polar opposite videos. When Cody said he was gonna, because I was watching one of his live streams and he was racing along and I said, hey, isn't it? I said it's great to see some good old racing with this game, you know. And he was driving and he talked back. He said yeah, I'm probably gonna make a video later. And I was gonna send him a thing and say, don't address this thing. Just go positive. Then he did. He did it anyway.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, he did positive. And I thought, wow. And then, like I said, I got a kick out of seeing some of my stuff in there, and got to see some Riverside. I felt like you made it for me. So
I was just thinking that when they saw all that.
A lot of somebody's thought that. I thought, because what a love letter to the sim, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so great video. I mean, I've watched it like 6 times by now. I mean, I think, wow, that's a really, and it made me think. I thought
when it came out,
it made me. I thought it was brand new.
No, it's old.
Because
like a few months.
because of some of the stuff that's on there. I thought, because I don't think that's that old, but I just really loved what he did there.
Yeah. And I've posted on the Tigger's Facebook page. I've posted it everywhere. I mean, it's one of the things that helped me decide to start doing more NASCAR streaming over GT streaming. And plus, I touched on this probably before all y'all were watching, but the reason I am going more NASCAR 2003, definitely 2003 season, NASCAR racing on my live streams. Going to get away from the GT. The market is blanketed with GT racing. There's so many streamers out there doing GT racing. So I decided I'm going to do my own thing and see.
Modern Sims. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, it was
that's why I originally came to Cody H Gaming, because even though it's doing wreck reenactments and that's what brings him in views, but he was one of the few people who was doing NO 2003 stuff on a regular basis. I was like, wow, someone actually dedicated to NO 2003 when everyone else that streams and does videos is doing iRacing. That's different.
And NASCAR. I just again, I want to go back to the basic the heart of it is his 15 areas. They were all
spot on.
Right on. The thing about the force feedback, it made me really think. I started thinking maybe my force feedback numbers are all wrong, because I don't like the way NR 2003 feels, and I'm thinking maybe I can fix that.
It's a combination of your
I know it's
the
not
profiler
it's
and
R factor.
No,
it's never going to be real feel. I know that, but maybe it can be better. And so that kind of inspired me some. So I'm looking into that. I'm trying to do some research and get some thoughts on that and see what, because it's there. I should be using it.
I've even been doing a bit more racing myself. Of course, I haven't finished the race since that one race, but I've made a few attempts at tracks like New Hampshire and Kansas. I made some pretty good tries. That is until I end up goofing up, Tigg knows what I'm talking about. When you make one wrong judgment, overdrive a little, boom, into the wall or into the other cars.
Hey, let's face it, it's hard to stay focused for that kind of time. That's why 5-10 lap races are the norm in the sim race.
Right.
When you're talking about doing even a quarter length race, you're talking about a lot of laps, and you got to maintain that. Someone was talking about that on the post race last night, talking about how it was Kyle Petty talking about how his back hurt because he was having to be up on the wheel all the time. He said, there was just like no downtime, and he said, and so there was no cruising around. He said it was hurting because I had to be so tense the whole time. I was hurting.
Like, even in my chair, but sometimes my arms sort of get tired, especially tracks like New Hampshire with like a lot of turning and holding the wheel. But my arms would start to get tired after a while from all the turning.
He's leaving us.
Like 15 laps, my arms would start to get tired.
Yeah, I do find that too. I find my legs.
I want to go. I want to make moves.
Yeah, and you can't.
I gotta reel myself back to be patient. So at New Hampshire, I sort of figured out started figuring out how to nudge my way past the AI. That I could get them. That I had them on corner exit. What I do is, at New Hampshire, I'm the kind of guy that shifts down into third gear off the corner.
Me too.
Have you ever done that? Yeah, shift into third
and
off
you
the
say
corner,
you don't like road racing.
AI.
See, you say you don't like road racing. That's what you're doing. It's the same thing. Same thing.
Yeah, but the thing is in New Hampshire, it's two corners and it's the same rhythm. Road courses, you go third gear for here, half
that
on
is so
and
hard.
off through the S's, and then down to first for the hairpin. Then you gotta take the next corner in four flat, and then you gotta start coasting while you're sort of turning and try not to spin the dang thing. There's so many different corners of. I guess the problem with road racing, why I don't like it, is every corner is so different that it's tricky to get into a rhythm.
Yeah, but see that is part of Yeah, of course, it means it requires more attention.
Yeah.
But because it is diverse, that does keep you awake. Though. It keeps you like. It's hard to get lulled. You don't get lulled into that, because I know what you're talking about with Martinsville. It's like off the corner, on it, off of it. Wait till it comes around, back on it, and that'll lull you. You listening to it, bah, bah. And I listen to that hurts my leg, by the way. my right knee does not like that. Trying to drive those short tracks because it's all
on and off.
Feather. Yeah, and especially if you're working it, I'm feathering it.
Yeah, exactly. So I figured that in the corners you really have to feather it.
Always, yeah.
Yeah.
You know who doesn't feather?
Lift to the corner, but no. Once it starts rotating, because if you just lift in a corner, even past speedways.
I
will get light and it will come around. So
yeah, it will.
You gotta apply the throttle, hook the rear tires up every now and then, keep it from turning around on you.
Yep. Yep, finding that magic mark where you can get back in it. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go a little bit more, and then finally getting back to it. And then sometimes you got to feather it back in. You can't just jump on it. You got to feather it back in.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, it's funny when I listen to, and I'm gonna point out Denny Hamlin of all people, because I don't really like Denny Hamlin, but I listen to him and I don't hear him feathering as much. I hear him because it always seems like they're in his car when they're doing the in-car sound thing when they want to show you what they're doing, and he doesn't seem to be feathering it as much. He's like off completely. He lets it drop all the way down, and then he comes back in, you know, big. And I know that's probably an over, you know, simplification of it, because I'm sure he's not doing just that, but it seems like it. But I think as sim racers, what we have to learn is we have to learn to get off of it, you know, because we're always trying to charge, always pushing too hard. We cause most of our own problems because we're not. Patience is the last thing that comes to. It's actually wisdom, but patience and then wisdom comes. And once you learn to be patient, then you can start to say, oh, this race will come to me, you know. And if it doesn't, then
the first few attempts I sort of relax it, but to slowly make up, wait for cars to start. I figured out where I was faster. That was corner exit. If I could just tap my nose underneath the car in front, enter in the corner, send them up the racetrack, and hold my line, just be patient, I could get them on the drag race down to the next corner. I could out-drag them very straight. So that's my big thing was.
You know what? That's what the real guys do too. So that's you.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Chad Little wrecked me yesterday.
See, that was another one. That was weird. So what did happen to him?
He just bogged down. He just slowed down. Yeah, I mean, he finished on the track. He finished the race.
What,
but
missing gear?
No,
he just
slowed it.
You don't change gears that day.
You don't. He just slowed down and.
Well, I was being facetious.
I know, but I'd like to get back to this the force feedback. Because that's something we can actually talk about. It's not just in-game settings you have to worry about, especially with a Logitech. You have to worry about the profiler settings.
Put a pin in that. I want to talk about what happened to you here, right there.
Oh, what happened to me there? I thought I was clear.
Loss of focus.
I thought I was clear. I thought I was clear.
So well.
I know.
You were doing so well.
Yeah,
you didn't even look. You didn't even look.
Oh, I did. Yep. I saw it was clear, and
that's why
I don't like. I kind of like the side mirrors that actually work right on these cars, because then you don't have to do the. Because when I turn the camera, it messes me up, so I don't do it. You know, that's why I don't like sitting up on the glass like I do in this car, in the sim, and I can't roll it back because I can look out the side of the window and see what's there, but without with me having to sit right up on the glass in this sim.
I only have 2 buttons on my G25. And that's what they're for. Left, right.
Yeah,
right look.
I lose track of myself when I do that. I don't know.
Well, I can't look long. I'll crash.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I can put it on. I can just, because they're momentary, I can just hit it, look, let go. You know, I'm not even that faster than that. Look, go, you know, back onto it. That way I can just, and if I have to do it 3 times, at least I know I'm still going straight.
Yeah.
I don't want to look. I don't actually want to turn my head and look. No.
No, that's why I want 3 monitors. That's where 3-screen comes way in handy, or VR. But I don't think the sim works in VR. But yeah, that was me getting. I always, when I start dropping back in the pack like that, I get a little antsy and a little oh god, I gotta get back to the front again. And I know I can do it because I just did it. I just drove from 43rd to first in 18 laps without messing up. And then once I'm up at front, it's like, and I drop back, it's like, oh my god, I gotta get back up front, it's gonna take forever. And no, it's not. But that's in my mindset, what I'm thinking, and that's all the videos I've taken. All those that I just showed are for basically for the intro video that I'm going to be making. I need to make some more. But anyway, that's where I get You know, in my mindset, it's like, oh my god, I'm dropping back. I need to get back down to the bottom real fast. And then if I saw a spot, this is exactly what I saw. As I saw a spot, I gave the wheel a little twitch, and Rusty Wallace was already in there, even though the spotter didn't say he was, because he didn't say it wasn't.
That happened to me multiple times, but that's why I'm hesitant to close my door when it says clear, because in a corner, because I like clear.
Right.
Okay, say I'm clear. But what if he suddenly noses back under me?
Especially at Talladega, Daytona, when you're going that fast and you're on the outside, you have to stay on the outside through the corner. I would.
Had it on the cookie cutters too.
Yeah. Well.
On the cookie cutters.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing with the high speed when they're below you. Especially, that's probably one of the few minor details about NR2K is they don't have the highline speed that the real cars have, and that's got to do a lot to do with the LP files. That's what Brian Ring was trying to fix all those years ago, where the high line, when you can get back in the gas faster, you can carry more speed through the corner. The most of the default tracks and 99% of the add-on tracks or re-edited tracks, they're the same way. When you're on that bottom line, you are faster, which is not the case most of the time. Now, there are some tracks being on the outside, the short tracks, anything under a mile. If you're on the top, you're not faster. But the mile and a halfers and the super speedways, when you're on the top, you can get in the throttle faster and be faster coming off the corner. They've proven that time and time again in NASCAR. When they finally figured out how to do it again, and it took, I think, Kyle Larson or somebody like that to figure it out. But that was the way it was back in the day. That's why when you watch the old races, they're all running the high line. It's because it's faster. Because the cars didn't have the speed that they had today. There was no drafting. It was faster on the high side. And then they used to call it the Harry Gant line. You know, and that was the last one. You really used the high line to his advantage until Kyle Larson came along and started doing it again. Now everybody's starting to do it. You can get in the throttle faster, and you can go. You'll have more off turn speed than you do on the bottom. But in R2K, it's still designed to where it was back in 2003, where everybody was running the bottom. If you weren't on the bottom, you were not fast, and that's the whole that's the one small probably flaw to the sim. But again, it's going by what was going on at the time in NASCAR, and if you look at it like that, then it's perfect. But if you want to look at it like they're doing today, where they're using California was the first place where they really started spurting out, because the track is so freaking wide. It's what, 4,000 feet wide? That's an exaggeration, but the track, I've seen them go through the corners, start going into the corners 6 wide. They can't hold the speed, but they're going into the corner 5, 6 wide, and they're not even close to each other. But the NR2K, you can't do that because it's all based on the LP files and how the files are written. So again, being on the bottom in NR2K is the fastest way around any place. And the AI is going to fish for that and hunt for that every time. No matter what. They are gonna if they you saw that in the race yesterday. You saw her a couple times where the guys on the outside, there's no way they could have if I didn't start tapping on the brakes, I knew exactly what they were going to do. I just tapped on the brake twice, so I just eased back a little bit, and they slid down because I could see that out the corner of my eye. That's exactly what they were going to do, and actually, that takes a lot of practice, a lot of time. That's why Super Speedway is probably the easiest racing in NR2K, because it's pretty predictable, but not predictable to the point where it's the same thing every time. I've run that race that I broadcasted yesterday like 5 times, and with different varying results. Sometimes it took 25 laps to get to the front. Like yesterday, it took 18 laps to get to the front. And then 2 laps after I got to the front, I was passed again and try to regain. They passed me. Unlike yesterday, where they seemed to be pretty well happy lining up behind me for some strange odd reason. It's the predictable unpredictability of the AI, and that makes it a lot of fun. And the more you run it, you got to find out. You're running it at 100%. Going out there and say, okay, it's 100%. I'm going to run it at 100%. Then you're trying your damnedest to keep up with them. You're trying. Oh, I'm not going fast enough. I'm not going fast enough. Funny, Bill. You're aiming to keep up with them. What I do is I go out there. I run my laps. I run laps with the AI, and then I go back and I adjust their speed to be just a couple of tenths faster than me. That way it provides the good racing. If they're only if you're in with a couple of tenths of their time consistently, because the AI runs consistent speed all the time. They'll run the same speeds. Just different guys will run different speeds at different load ups, but they all run basically the same consistent speeds. You have to adjust that for you, so you have a fun race. That's the point of it. Make it a fun race for you. Don't make it 100%. Oh, I gotta go this fast. No, you don't. NR2K's AI is probably the best AI out there so far, because 100% at one track is 100%, the next track is 100% at the next track, on the default tracks. Now the add-on tracks and the re-edited tracks, it's totally different because they changed the grip values, but the original default tracks, 100% is 100% is 100% is 100%. They run the same. That way you're going to have to adjust. That's my pug. But that's it. Getting back to the force feedback is with the Richmond. Yeah, it's wide as hell. It just looks that wide. I mean, when they show a higher camera at California, they can go 5-6 wide. It just looks like it's a country mile wide, and that's what I always thought was funny about California. It's much too wide. But then again, it provides for much better real racing than it does for sim racing. Because I don't think the sim track is as wide as the real track is, but. Okay, so we covered that. I was okay when 35 wide, but because I'm too.
Get back on this.
I'm too busy running my mouth. He's on here still. No, I can't see there. There we go. Getting back to the force feedback. In your global, you probably had a phone call too, didn't you? In your global profiler,
he was on a run.
Oh yeah, well, in your Logitech, I don't know about any other. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about any other steering wheel because that's the only ones I have. But there's a global device setting, and you can set it up for to run at that. But that's another place. If you've got this all at 100%, it messes, and you put the game at 10%. It's still going to be different. And what I found out is having. For the Microsoft side, or not the Microsoft, but the Momo, the Logitech Momo wheel, 100% overall effect, 30% center spring, and then the centering spring, which makes the wheel drive back to center, at 30%. So you feel it, but you're not fighting it to stay in the turns. Anything, especially 50%, you're fighting to keep that. You're fighting so hard against the wheel to keep it in the turn.
I might need to sort of change that a little because at 100% force feedback in the game, it's just a pain to even turn that wheel. Wheel to get the turn.
Now in the game, I can load that up because it doesn't take up too much. CPUs, I can load that up real fast right now. And Sim, gotta give it a minute. Harmonica playing when you're oh, she's annoying. She's having a dry skin attack, which sucks. But in the controller, I have I have the dampening at 100%. Okay, that's probably why when I went to do the other thing, it didn't feel right. That's where I have it at. The latency at 0, and that's where it feels good for me. Now, when you get out there, it may feel totally different. I want a little fight back, but I don't want the wheel, say, hey, you gotta go. The wheels, wheels trying to go this way because that's where it's wanting to go. But it's want to go like a real car. It has a little bit of force back to you, but it doesn't say, hey, you gotta go this way. It just, you can feel the car is there, but it's not telling you where you need to go. And when you put that center spring is probably the most important thing to figure out where you're comfortable. I've had it as high as 75%, and I've had it originally comes at 100%. In the first couple of months I had it, I was running it at 100%, and by the end of a race, my arms were like, oh my god! Especially at a short track where you're constantly turning it, your arms get so worn out because the wheel is fighting you to go back to center.
Even New Hampshire or Phoenix does flat tracks.
Right. You're fighting the wheel so hard to get the car to do what you want. 90% of people's problems, and I think it's probably your problem, Bill, too, is where your center spring is set at. I'm almost positive that's where your problem is. You want it so there's a little feel there, but not to the point where it's pushing you back to center. That's all you want, and that's how it feels like a real wheel. We're live now. Yeah, we've been live. And we've been live for almost 2 hours now, and I promised the wife it wouldn't be 2 hours, but she's in bed, so she's not feeling well again, so hey, I can be on as long as I want. But yeah, that's the steering ratio once you're in the car, figuring out, that's why I leave the wheel on, because I want that wheel in the car to turn. When I'm turned this far, I want that center ring on the wheel in the car to be right there. I want it to be right there. I don't want it to be like I don't want to be halfway here and it's sitting here, because then I feel like I need to turn it more, because I'm looking at that wheel. I'm not looking at this wheel, because I don't even see this wheel. That's another reason why I really want to turn it off, because it really plays with my mind that I'm not turning the car enough. But once you figure out that you get that steering ratio down to where it's even, where the center ring on your simulated wheel and your wheel is exactly the same, it becomes what you're driving. It becomes exactly like you're driving, just like a real car. Because if you turn a real car, it's gonna. If you turn it that much, it's gonna turn that much. Not you don't have to turn it that much to get it to turn that much. You have to figure that all out for what you're comfortable at. And I honestly, I don't think anybody. I probably give up if I actually sat down and thought about it and wrote it out. There's probably not one video. Everybody talks about field of view. Everybody talks about frame rates. Everybody talks about all this other stuff, but they don't actually talk about setting up your force feedback wheel to where it feels real. And they talk about the force feedback in R factor too. I do the same thing. I set the ratio, and it's a little bit more difficult to do in R factor 2 to set up the ratio right. I may have to go in and out 3 or 4 times to get it where, you know, when I turn the wheel, it shows on the inseam. Tom Slick. Yeah. It's all about, that's the feel. If you're not set up right, it's all about the feel. Where did I put that? Oh, here you go. Nope, wrong one. Freaking thing bounced around. It's all about feel, and then when you get the feeling right, you can run races just for the feel. Just for the feel, to figure out where your feel is, and then start when you figure out how to get your feel back, and I think that's 90% of it. Then you can go out and race and do, like, you know, until I screwed up yesterday. I actually never used to be that good. I could get the mid pack before I would wreck out, and now it's to the point where it's like I can feel it. And I've just discovered, basically, even though I've had this sim for 15 years, a lot of stuff I've just figured out in the last 6 months. In the last few weeks, really, about how to it's all about that, and I think that's making it more enjoyable. I hate short track racing. I've been done a short track race since I've done these changes to my wheel, so it's going to be interesting when I go do some short track racing, which I am going to do. It's not going to be all super speedway what I stream. I'm going to do some short track racing. Yeah. What do you? He's so busy. Yeah. Here we go. Here's the video. I saw this the other day when he talked about it. Play it. But yeah. Again, if it's not an arcade, that's for damn sure. I'll never run anything in arcade. And I know Cody does the crash videos. That is one thing. Unless it actually happens in a race, you will never see me purposely go out and do a crash video. I will not do that. That is not my spiel. That is not my deal. I like racing. I like the fun of it. I treat it like it's a real thing because I did it online for so long. You know, in racing AI, it's just AI. I wrecked them, no big deal. But when you're online and you wreck somebody's gonna get pissed. I think that's the same cone from the middle of Riverside. Oh my God. Alrighty. Anyway, so we've been here for almost 2 hours now. Believe it or not, it's been 1 hour and 58 minutes, and I think the most people who watch this is 5 at one time. I feel sorry for anybody who's going to watch the rebroadcast. There's a lot of good information in this thing too. So anybody's sits through this thing, more power to them. I mean, we covered a lot of good information on today's show. I must say, I think we did.
So
anyway.
going forward, are you running a schedule, or are you just running miscellaneous in the 98?
Oh, I'm not running the 98. That was just for that day. I'm going to be running multiple mods. I'm going to on Tuesday morning stream. I'm going to try to do a Riverside, or not a Riverside. See, now you got Riverside stuck in my head. I am going to attempt to do the previous weekend's race in NASCAR in the Splash and Goes 18 mod. I don't know if I'll fare very well. Riverside. Yeah, Riverside. I can't even think of where. Richmond is where they were at, and then Richmond is probably one of the short track. I'm not a good short track racer, even though I like road racing. I'm terrible at short tracks. But I'm gonna try to do
sort of vice versa.
I'm gonna try to do a 100 lapper.
Short tracks, but road racing.
I'm going to attempt to do a 100 lap race, starting from the back. See how far I make it up there. It's gonna be a brain buster. Yeah. Riverside. What I want to do. Now, we need to talk, and I know I'm doing this live, and it's going to be in a recording. What I want to do is talk to John Norton when he comes back, and instead of him just willy-nilly releasing the Riverside track, we do it live. Yeah. Riverside. He's got Riverside on the brain. You know, there's a pill for that, right? So there you go. All right. I don't know what that means, Ian.
Hey, Bill, guess what? Guess what word I spelled backwards?
Riverside.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So there you go. But yeah, I'm gonna do more NASCAR racing. It's gonna be multiple mods on the NR2K. And if you notice, I did pull out, you did see that I pulled out all my other sims. I pulled them out of the drawer. They are eventually going to be going on to the computer, and I will be doing some stuff with those also. Maybe not the EA ones, because I still haven't figured out how to set the wheel on that. I'll take some time to figure out how to set up. But NASCAR Racing 4, definitely do some of that.
Ian, don't you have some EA stuff on yours?
Yeah, I have NASCAR Sim Race installed.
Yeah.
Do I say it? What happens is, I got it to boot, but let's try it so I can do what happened. I click on the XE, and then let's start. Then it just pops up the graphic settings, and then it just keeps popping up the graphic settings each time I do it.
Again, that's another one where you have to go to the properties and set it as, I think Windows Service Pack 3 was what that came out on, and run as admin. And
that's why I did that.
You know, sometimes,
just to get it
sometimes you got to do it to the video graphic configurer too. Sometimes you got to do it to both of them. I think I had this on my other Windows 10 machine, but I haven't put it on this machine yet to do it. But I'll probably have to remember how to do it again. But the thing about the EA Sports ones is they don't turn. They're more.
Too.
Yeah, the steering doesn't feel right when you go to the car. It feels like it's more set up for consoles and game controllers, which I actually did hook up my game controller to my computer, so I actually do have my handheld controller hooked up to my computer now. So I thought I was going to need that for Forza 4.
With a Xbox One controller, just plug in any old HDMI cable.
Yeah, the Windows 10 seems to recognize it. Now, the one thing that that's another reason why I'm hoping this wheel doesn't die until I get a new one. Please don't die. Please don't die. Is the Microsoft Sidewinder? It does recognize it and it does work, but it will not run the profiler program. It will, no matter what I've tried to do. I've tried to get the profile to load up to set the force feedback and all that stuff. It will not load any of that up. It's crying shame of it all.
Yeah,
considering it's a Microsoft.
Analyzing the computer.
Yeah,
it's so cycling to analyzing the computer over and over again. I haven't been able to get past that. I haven't figured out a fake. I have the same problem with GTR 2. I
have no problem with that one.
Even R Factor at one point where it just, I think I have the same problem with GT Legend, GTR2, where it just keeps cycling on
then
the
there's
setup
something
screen
in
for
your
whatever
there's
reason.
something in your computer that's blocking it. That's the only thing I can think of.
Reinstall.
Reinstall is always the answer.
That's my answer to everything.
And I see, that's the thing. A lot of people go in there with, especially with this, is they'll go in, they'll put the sim on the computer, go download the no patch, or put the no CD patch, and after they put one of the updates, there's a second minor little one that's out there that, if I can find the link to it real quick.
For
R2
2003?
Yeah, there's a minor one. Yeah, there's a little minor one.
Oh, the fix one.
Yeah, well, not the
1.2 fix one.
Yeah, there's a little minor one.
The 0201 fix one.
Yeah, and I don't remember where the hell I put that link in.
I don't think it affects everything.
No.
It's only a specific mod, isn't it?
No,
it has to do with the PWF.
No, it's not from them. It's actually from Sierra Papyrus. What did I do with that link? God damn it!
Go into patches.
No, it's not on. It's their site's dead. Their site's gone. It's
called the fix mod or a patch.
I know I put it in. I don't think I made it a sticky though over at Stanad. Yeah.
Links, all patches.
I know I did. Long ass time I did a post over at Stanad. Okay. But I don't remember where I put it. I don't remember where I put it. I may have put it in general talk. I may have put it in tech. I don't even remember where I put it. There is.
Okay. It's called the. No, that's NASCAR 2. I'm actually at the Sierra Help patches.
Yeah, that's the page. Yeah, that's where I got it from. I used to have the link. I don't remember what the hell I did with it.
Update, max update.
There's two of them. Yeah. And
copy protection fix. Oh no.
But anyway.
What is the copy protection fix? Is that so you can use the no CD? Is that what that is?
I think that's why that is. I don't remember. It's been forever. I just know you got to put both of them on there. That's why I remember.
They show the first update. They show.
There's two of them.
The copyright. There's two of them. Yeah, copy protection fixes. Two of them.
Yeah, you just
a big one, a little.
A real small one. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The little small one. But you put those back on, and then what they don't do, and this is what I do. I leave the disc in there. I do all the updates. Then I fire up the sim with the disc in there before I put the no CD patch in. Make sure it runs. Make sure I didn't screw up anything on the install. I've screwed up enough times to know that I need to do that. And a lot of people, you just do this, do that, and you're done. No. Run it. Make sure the sim runs. Make sure the tracks load. Make sure that all the default stuff. Before I put anything in there, I run the default. Make sure the default cup car mod runs. Make sure the default tracks load. Make sure you go to the track, you hit drive, you make sure it runs. Then I close it out, and then I move everything in there that I had. That's what I do. I mean, that's to me, that just common sense. To make sure it runs before you do it. And with this download, and I know the downloaded version, there's so many people having so many problems that 90% of it has got to be from the downloaded version. You don't know who put it up. You don't know what was in their file. You don't know if they've got all those upgrades in there, the two patches in there. You don't know. You just don't know. You don't know. I see a lot of people putting up lap times with that Fox ticker on it. The sim never came with a Fox ticker. It came with the bland, boring one that you see right here. This little lap info thing. That's all it came with. This bland, boring thing. This thing with the Fox ticker and all that's all add-ons. So when you get to putting on add-ons, you got to make sure you put them in there right. There's only certain places you can put them in there, and if you put it in the wrong spot, it's going to mess. You put one file in the wrong spot, it's going to mess up your sim. It's going to mess it up, plain and simple. If you notice, I've got 7 installs of this sim on my computer. I've got the original, that's my cup cup mods. The second one is all my road course cars. Third one is all short track cars. Fourth one is GTP. Fifth one is BNS CTS. Sixth one, I don't even remember what's in that. Oh, that's the sprint car mod.
Which my install looked like that.
And my seventh one is all my garbage mods. And that still has to be run with the CD because I never put the CD patch in there. This is all the mods that somebody put up for hot laps one time, and that's where they all go. One time garbage mod.
That's one of the reasons why I don't hot lap as much as I probably should. It's because so many odd one-off mods that outside of hot lapping, I'm probably never gonna use them. I never really.
Well, that's why
they could become your very most favorite. You never know.
That's why I have 7 installs. That's exactly why I have 7 installs.
Trying to open your mind, enrich your life.
See, look at that.
You know, little extra color.
Lives in the 90s to early to mid 2000s. That's all where my heart lies, and it always has. Probably
if another cup card mod comes out, if you look at this, if you look at the screen, if another cup card comes out, I've got to move some of these out of cup card. Probably the GN55 convertibles, but I've got 15 cup car mods right now, and in just cup cars. In the road course cars, there's actually I have 16 road course cars. You can't believe there's 16 of them.
Really?
There are 16. There are 16.
List them. Name them.
The 330, the Aussie V8s, the D12, the Formula One, the GTP CTS, IndyCar Racing, iRacing.
Wait. Go. V12.
V12. I don't know this one. The DW12. I call it V12, but
DW12. I thought you said V12.
DW12.
No.
IndyCar Racing, the IR12 Racing, the JTTC, the European late model from the one with the fins on, the one with the wings on them. I call that a road car. I don't call that a oval track car. The original
Winged Whalen.
Yeah, the Winged
Whalen car.
Yeah, the original OWR mod.
They're not road cars.
Yeah, they are.
They're not road cars.
Yeah, they are.
Not really.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
In that eye, they are.
3 tracks in Europe. So, and Rockingham Speedway shutting down, so it might as well be a primarily road series.
Exactly.
Okay, fine. You guys win. I'll let you go. Let you have that one.
The original OWR mod, the original PTA mod, the P trucks, the Australian trucks, the Rally GNS, the SST, that's the off-road truck, and then the stock V8s, and then the TP TCC mod. That's all 16
of them. You're missing Aussie V8 supercars.
Yeah, that first.
Second one.
It's up top.
The third one.
The second one up. Second one. Yep, they're all there. Then we go to shorts, and I have 16 mods in there too. Yeah. So I have, that's just the 3 installs. I have 40, 50 mods. And then if you go to, well, GTP only has 1 mod in it. The BNS, or 2 mods because the night and the day. The BNS CTS, there's 15 mods in there. ARCA, Bush 98, the CLM GNS, the original CTS, the CTS 15, the DMR 13, the DMR 16, the original GNS, the hobby stocks, the IRC, the IRC 28. The trucks 09, I forget what the MPS or the Pitney series 17, and then the other 2 Xfinity mods, 15 and 17 mods there. So I'm pretty well full there. Then NASCAR 6, I don't even remember what the hell's in that one. Oh, that's just Cup car. Oh no, that's right. That is just for the sprint cars. See that? We talked about illegal. That mod is illegal. That's why you'll never see that streamed. Because it's 1 gear.
What's illegal? What's illegal?
The exec is hack. It's a 1 gear exec.
see this stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
mindless.
Yeah.
You know, if one day we'll have to do the illegal stream, and we'll have to talk about what could be possible. You know, and just let everybody run their mouth for once, and then close that book and
call it done.
Never speak of it again.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean, the GTP mod shows us what would be possible.
And they're
for physics, for sounds, for you know. And that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning of it.
Right. And then here's my 7th install where I've got that Cup 2002 mod that we did, the Elite mod, which is not anything, the Hooters mod, the Hooters mod. Why is the original OWR? Okay, so that doesn't belong in here because I already have that over there. And then that RSRP guy, I've got a couple of his mods in here. And the Sportsman mods.
Sim Racing.
Yeah, I mean he's got so many. He's got his hands in so many baskets that it's pointless trying to keep up with him. Because now, last I've seen on his Facebook page, he's concentrating on R Factor. So it's hard to keep up with him. But there's so many.
It's easier to mod.
Yeah, and there's so many good dirt mods out there already that he's redoing for the 15th time. That it's not even worth looking at. I mean, my R Factor install, I've got, you don't even want to know how many mods I have in this thing. There's 147 files.
So do you realize Sean Reap is, don't you? He's the guy doing the FSB stuff.
Yeah, I know. I've been talking to him.
Okay, I just wanted to know if you knew for sure who he was.
Yeah, I know who he is. I definitely know who he is.
Good.
Yeah,
he does a good show. Does a first-class show.
Yeah, and I don't know how he figured out how to do multi-monitor streaming so fast because it's way over my head. I mean, it's all a techno babble. I mean, they expect everybody to know what this. They expect people to know what this stuff is, and they start talking about doing this and doing that. It's like, huh? Make it simple for a simpleton. I mean, I'd like to. I know. I'm one of those people. Like I put up on the post on on my Facebook page. I like click here, download this, click that, move this, move that, and I'm done. Because I'm sure it's just that simple. But they have to go and say 500,000 things, and before you realize what you're doing, you screwed it up. I was going to use another word, but no. So I'm very slowly going through this. I had the OBS program on my other computer. I have the cam. Well, actually, it was easy to do the cam because it's wireless. So it's what I can just have the cam over there. But getting that computer to see this computer, that's where I'm getting the difficulty in having it show up on the OBS on that computer. I'll figure it out before too long, and then we'll really be good. But we've been doing this for 2 hours and 17 minutes now, guys. It's way longer than I thought I was going to go today. So we'll end it right now. An abrupt screeching halt to our program today because we've been on for 2 hours and 17 minutes, heading towards 18 minutes real fast here. So I thank you guys for stopping by today. Had a great conversation, had great talks about a lot of good things. Anybody who watches this at this point, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Join my Facebook page. I share a lot of news over there too, and especially when I'm doing on the live streams. But my progress on learning how to do all this is going to be on there too. So, what the hell now? Oh, Motor Trend Riverside. You just can't get off of Riverside. Anywho,
it's his drug.
I know it is. Smash that like button. Keep smashing that like button. Keep smashing that subscribe button. And I thank you all for watching today. Thank you guys for joining in the conversation. Smoke me a kipper. I'll be back for breakfast.